Okay, cool. Welcome back. You're now tuned into the one and only timeshare podcast in the world, sold in 60. It's your host, Richie Rich, and my right-hand man, Down Payment Dylan. And what is this, Dylan? We say it's the one and only timeshare podcast in the world. That's our slogan. And today we got a special guest. Our guest is my left-hand lady, the queen, Kisha. What's up, Special K?
What's up?
What's good? Listen, this is summertime madness. We're back in the building. You know, you just have to come with it for this summer. You know what I'm saying? Because I know everyone, it's halftime pretty much. You know, we did, we're in July right now. So it's halfway through. You know, everybody's feeling the summer. Some resorts saying that it's not as busy as normal. Some saying that, you know, it is what it is. They just rolling with the punches. So
True.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to get a vibe and see what's up, man. Shout out to everybody who's watching the show, who follows the show, who shares with other people. Because remember, this whole movement was put together for us. You know what I'm saying? It's made for timeshare salespeople for the timeshare salespeople. You know what I'm saying? That's my feels right there. You know what I'm saying? D Money, what's popping?
What's good, man? We miss the people.
Oh yeah, for sure. And the people miss us, man. That's why we do what we do. You know what I mean? Like, but you know, let's get right into it, because right now it's the summertime and we know everyone's busy. We know everyone's late nights. I mean, anybody that got home after dating late night, 8 o'clock, I already know your pain. You know what I'm saying? You did what you had to do. You get that last deal, that last tour, and I respect that. These are some rewarding nights, you know? And for those people that's working, that's getting, you know, even if you got a pender, man, for the summer, because we understand people come on vacation not really ready to buy. But remember this, penders come good, you know?
Oh, yeah.
September, you be like, boom, where'd that come from?
Ooh.
You know? So them penders come good, man. But shout out, man. So my special guest, my left-hand queen, Kisha's in the building. Kish, man, I wanted to get you on here and get your perspective, because a lot of people look up to you. I don't know if you know. Oh. And I'm talking for myself, okay? Oh. Your energy's crazy, and the viewers don't know, you know what I'm saying? But I want you to introduce yourself and let them know your history. But I'm going to tell you my experience from you. You know when someone like knows someone's popping off the rip, and then when they coming in, they just shine. That's my experience of seeing you do your thing. Aww. Anywhere you step into, it's lit. It's turned up. And they be like, who that new girl? Who that? And then, you know what I'm saying? But it's just her energy, man. And that energy continues whether it's on the floor or even off the floor. You know what I'm saying? So,
thank you.
You know, we tell our viewers, like, try this industry. It's not for everyone. It may not be for you. You got to be a people's person. You got to know how to vibe. And not everybody, and respectfully, I think everybody should try sales in the vacation industry. But there's some people that just naturally have it without even trying. And I'm going to put you in that category. So I want to know, how the hell you get this type of vibe? What's going on? Like, where you come from? Who are you?
Well, I'm definitely a timeshare baby. That's for sure. My parents were big time managers back in the day. I grew up watching my dad just coming in with a pair of shorts, believe it or not, a t-shirt, towel around his neck, a baseball cap with some sandals, and he used to sell just like that back in the day. And he was a guru. My dad wasn't fancy. He was just real. And I think that's where it really started for me. I remember being at that age, getting ready to go to college and going to pursue education and law, believe it or not. I had a fully paid ride. And right before I was going off to school, my dad said, you know what, Kisha? I want to show you a little something. So long story short, my journey started with my father. You know, it was definitely a whole new world for me. A very real world for me, because I learned that, you know, the true reality of life, believe it or not, does boil down to vacation. You know, people are always on a hustle. People are always on a grind. Everybody's trying to make money. Everybody's trying to pay bills. But that one quiet moment that you have in life to be at peace with yourself, with your children and your family, you know, that's what we work for. That's the reality of life. And when I learned that, I started realizing that yeah, it's sales at the end of the day, but this is really a true remedy that people really need, a reminder in life. Because at the end of the day, the bills don't stop.
Right.
The grind doesn't stop, But what I really saw were people that were being reminded about what their why was in life. And, back in the day when I was listening to people say that timeshare, or forget about timeshare in general, just vacation in general, is a need. We don't have a genie in our back pocket to predict what's going to happen tomorrow. We could drop dead at a dime.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're working for what at the end of the day?
Yeah.
To pay another bill or to see another day? So that was my eye opener, where I started realizing that, we're selling not just a product, but we're reminding people of the reality of life. What is your why? What are you really working for? Is it just to clock in, clock out every day, or to really build a dream for your children, for your family, for your legacy? It's about legacy. And I carried that legacy from my father to my mother. And it's so crazy because back in the day, let me tell you something. My dad, he was a handyman. He used to do construction back in the day with my uncles up north in New Jersey, all the way up to Massachusetts and Connecticut. And he had experience in real estate. He understood the concept of real estate. He would build out projects in old abandoned buildings back in Camden in New Jersey. If anybody knew about those hoods in Camden.
That's the projects, Camden.
Yeah, Camden. My dad worked in those serious projects back in the day.
He's from Jersey?
My father originally is we're originally from Massachusetts, but we went from Massachusetts to New Jersey, and I grew up most of my life there. So long story short, my dad had gotten an opportunity to come to Florida because one of my uncles had a project, and my dad didn't know nothing about Florida. Long story short, next thing I know, we're packing our bags, coming to Florida, coming to see Disney for the first time. I didn't know nothing about Disney. All I knew about was, the city, buses, all of the above. And then I'm coming in and I'm seeing these beautiful beaches and theme parks. And I'm like, wow. So my dad bought his first timeshare for $5,000 right on the beach. And we thought we made it. Honestly, we thought we made it. So my dad said, you know what? I think I'm going to go get my real estate license. We said, what? We were all laughing at my dad, like, really? And my dad said, yeah, I'm going to go get my license. Next thing we know, my dad locked himself in the room for 2 weeks straight, took a crash course, and he passed it. So my dad jumped into timeshare right after he passed his test. Didn't know nothing about the industry, just came in just straight old-fashioned pair of shorts, T-shirt, hat, and literally with a pair of sneaks, white clean pair of sneaks, and he was literally selling timeshare just like that. Next thing I know, my dad, in less than 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, he was breaking records just by being a simple guy from an old school neighborhood up north, coming down to Florida, not knowing nothing about this life, and was building a name in the industry. And then slowly after that, after a year, he got all these big rewards and breaking records, and they wanted him to go to other sites. And then my mom came into the game right after him, and then she double killed it right after that. So, after being in the industry, after I got to say almost 15 plus years, my parents, they brought me into when I was like 19 years old. That's when I started. My dad, sadly, after being brought into a project in Vegas, got diagnosed with terminal cancer 30 days after that project. He didn't tell us. All we know is that my dad was living the dream in Vegas, had this big opportunity to launch a new site to make lots of money. And then my dad calls me when I'm on the sales floor, and he says, Kisha, I got to come home. So I said, what's wrong? What do you mean? You just got there. He goes, no, I got to come home. I said, okay. So I go to the airport to pick up my dad, and I'm looking at him. I'm like, I've never seen my dad. My dad never been the type of person to be rocked. Does that make sense? He was always very, very
upbeat.
Yeah. So my dad says, well, we need to go take care of a few things. I had to cut this Vegas trip short. We got to go to a doctor. And I'm looking at him like, what? Next thing I know, we go to the doctor, and the doctor looks at me, looks at my dad. My mom wasn't even there. My mom was on the sales floor that day. And the doctor goes, unfortunately, I hate to say this, sir, but you got two options. In the next 30 days, you could either, make set up an appointment with hospice for you and your family, or you could do this at home so you could part ways with your family, but you got 30 days to live. So my dad looked at him like, what? He looked at me, he goes, I'm going to get back to you. So long story short, my dad comes back to the doctor and he says, you know what, if you tell me I got a 50-50 chance, let's just go for the gusto. Whatever that 50 is, I'm willing to go for it. The doctor says, okay. So we're going to do a surgery. And again, you got 50-50 chance to live, or you got 50-50 chance to die. And my dad said, well, I'm going to roll the dice and I'm going to go for that 50-50 because I think that 50-50, I'm going to make it. So the doctor goes, okay. So we sign the papers, we go with it, we get set up for surgery. My dad was in surgery for almost 6.5+ hours. He had 14 tumors embedded over his liver. The doctor successfully removed 12 tumors over his liver. He had no bag, which they said that he would have. And he had a clean surgery. Long story short, my dad comes out of surgery. He was like, hey, where am I? He's here trying to take his IV out. And he was like, am I alive? And the doctor says, you are a testimony, sir. Because not only did you make it through the surgery alive, we got out the bulk of your tumors and you only had 2 left. And so long story short, my dad lived for another 8 more years. Rocked it out hard, still did his thing. People really remembered him because he was always positive. And I guess the moral of the story why I say that when you say the light is because I always remember in the darkest moments, because, your parents, that's your rock, that's your foundation. And for me, being a girl and me being the only girl, I had all brothers. That for me was like the turning point coming into womanhood, being a young woman. Not only that, I was a teenage mom. I had my daughter during that time. So I was like, for my first year making $75,000, being a teenage mom, not having nobody, being by myself, I was like, wow, it was mind blowing.
Yeah.
So, so that's my light.
It's personal.
It's personal.
Yeah.
My dad always used to tell people, he used to say, hey, man, you think you got problems, man? I got problems. If you got problems with your wife, go fix it. Go home, buy her some flowers. If you ain't got a job, go out there in the street, get 2. My dad would literally tell people that. And he goes, you don't got problems. You got great problems. I wish I had those problems. Now go back out there and be great. And that's what people remembered my father for. And it came down to the point where I remember I broke down in tears crying because they literally, Orlando Sentinel did an article on my father. And they put him on all the trucks over here in hospice. And he's still on these trucks to this very day for his testimony of what he put into the Orlando Sentinel, just what he did in the timeshare industry, and how he touched people. And it wasn't about money. It was about changing lives. And that's what we do. We change lives.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's real talk.
That's deep.
So what company did he work for?
So at that time, my dad worked for what is now Diamond Resorts, both of my parents.
What was the call before?
Tempest Resorts.
Tempest.
Yeah.
I think I heard the name before.
So I was with Tempest Resorts for over 13 years. They got me when I was a little baby in the industry.
Little baby.
And I kind of grew. And let me tell you something. All the people that showed me love to come back after my dad died, because I did take a break. It was hard. It made me feel good. I felt love, like where people were just like, where are you at? Like, what happened to you? Like, it was almost like I had uncles and aunts and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That were embracing me back in the industry.
There's something about being a timeshare baby where the people that's in the industry, they love you. They know you before you even knew yourself, Tyler, sorta. You know what I'm saying? And they
Yeah.
have these like shoes of greatness to fill, you know?
Yeah.
Like my parents was in the business before me, and people loved them. You know what I mean? And then when I came, they was like, "Oh my God, you're such and such a kid." Da da da. That's a lot of pressure, actually.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're trying to fill great shoes. So I can see that. So you have a good a background.
Thank you.
So from Tempest, and then so now you went back into other companies, but there's something about vacationing that it hit for you. Are you more of an emotional seller or logical?
I would say a little bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
Because I believe in life that it has to be logical for families. You know, at the end of the day, if it's logical and it makes sense, you know, families will always come back to you because you took care of them. You poured some love into them. I'm not one of those people that I'll talk real fast. Make sense?
You're not a city slickster?
Yeah, and again, I'm not talking bad about nobody, and everybody's got their own style. But I always believe the logical version makes sense. But then there's always some emotion because there's a reason why people spend dollars and cents. And that's just what it boils down to. You could spend dollars and cents on a brand new Benz. You could spend dollars and cents on a brand new chain. But at the end of the day, what's going to give you the most memories? Vacations. Let's be real. I mean, my parents, they were not the richest people, but I could tell you that my most memories that I remember with my father was, believe it or not, these corny vacations. My dad had an RV that he would take us fishing and camping. And that's because I had brothers. I had no sisters. I was the only girl. So, but I remember that. You know what I mean? I remember those little things. And that's what made him happy. And that's what made me happy. And, you know, now that I'm an adult and I have my children and I look at it, and even working as hard as I work, because I was a teenage mom, man. I had my daughter when I was 16 going on 17. So did I have a big bank account? No. But the little things that I did, it makes me emotional.
So take us through your process when you're doing a presentation. Like how do you transition from meeting somebody and to warming up to them to getting to that emotional state to breaking down the logics and then like telling them you gotta do this for your family?
Let me tell you, at the end of the day, no one has a piggy bank for life. Life is always throwing you curveballs. You know what I mean? But when it's something that you really, really want, trust me, you make it happen. I mean, especially, and I'm not because I'm just a mother, but I think in life in general, when you want it, you'll get it. Even if it takes you to have to work 2 jobs, 3 jobs, whatever it takes, you'll get it. But I come from a world where we didn't have it, so you have to get it. I got that thick skin. I built it from a young age. I know what it is to have to grind. I know what it is that has to work. I know what it is that you may not have money to eat, but you just got to get it. And that's that grind in life that I think that people, when you're thrown up against the wall and you don't have nothing, and you really say to yourself, damn, I got to figure this out. No matter what it takes, all I got is me. But what makes it worse is that when you have a little person that you got to feed and no one's there for you, and that little person's counting on you, that was me. But I was always the type that I was like, this is my world. Ain't nobody going to break me but me. And that's one thing that I learned in life growing up from my father, from my family, that no one's going to do it but me. So I make him break my world. I make him break my destiny. I make him break whether I win or lose. So I can either lose with the people that want to lose, or I win with the people that see the vision to win. And that's how I look at life. I want to surround myself with winners.
When you came in the game, did your parents share any tips to help you get started, or did you have to kind of learn as you go or learn on your way?
I definitely say I've learned a lot. I've always had my own style, and I guess my own style has always just been keeping it real. Because in reality, you know, when it comes down to people, when you keep it real, it's just real.
Yeah.
You know, you could make it as fake as you want, but when you keep it real, it just flows right. You know, and again, I'm not saying it to toot my own horn, but I just keep it real with them, man.
When you say keep it real, are you talking about like throwing in some baby negatives during the presentation, or what do you mean?
You always got to give a negative because nothing's always peaches and cream. I mean, we could give you peaches and cream all day, but let's be real, you got to be prepared for the negatives. But if I give you the negatives with the peaches and cream, what are you going to appreciate more at the end of the day?
That
you know what I'm
honest.
saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, I can make the journey any which way you like, but the choice is going to be yours, not mine.
Not true.
Yeah.
And from my understanding, so did you sell timeshare in person, or has this always been on the phone?
No, I've always been doing it in face to face.
Oh, face to face. Okay.
Yeah, I'm all day face to face.
Got you.
Yeah.
So like going back, so you have a testimony from experience, right? Of how you vacation. But when you meet a family, what's your strategy? Like, do you go straight to the emotional side of things, or do you have a process?
There's always a process. I believe anything in life, there's a process, from buying a car to a home to anything logical in life for anyone in general. That process has to boil down to what is their why? You know, if they're there for vacation, it's for a reason. It's probably because they like where they're vacationing at. You know, no one's going to go to a Hilton if they don't like a Hilton. No one's going to go to a Marriott if they don't like a Marriott. There's something that they like about it. Great. So let's talk more about that.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So you find out the reason why the vacation, and you going deep on that, and you find that, what they call that, DBM?
DBM.
What does that stand for?
Buying, dominant buying motive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every company has a different type of training, right? And different type of terminologies and acronyms. So I'm learning more and more. You know, some people say DBM, some people say hot button. Some people say they figure out their why, stuff like that. So yeah, but that's what's up. I like that.
What for the sales, timeshare sales that you're selling? Are you in house or frontline with it?
I do a little bit of both.
Okay. And what do you feel what's your favorite? You like
what's
more
better?
owners,
What's better? In house or they call it dayline, frontline, in house or frontline?
I can't really say. I love them both, to be honest with you, only because I've built probably great relationships throughout my journey, where I feel that my families could always reach out to me. I'm not like that type of rep that just kind of let's start the journey and then drop the mic on you, if that makes sense. Where I feel like my families are comfortable enough to reach out to me and still ask me questions, or if they have concerns, and I could still give them the guidance that they need. You know what I mean? And that's what they respect about me. Again, this is me. Everybody has their own way of doing things, but I believe that, you know, if you pour in love, love comes back to you, if that makes sense. And they always want to come back to you. Why? Because you take care of them. And that's how it should be, you know. Now,
some resorts let you keep in touch or handle, and some don't, right? Am I correct? So, do you think that when you're doing with a frontline, can you still use that same type of strategy, or are you going against like companies' policy or whatever?
You mean on the two sides of the coin between? I mean, you know, frontline is a little different. It's not about getting too overcomplicated. It's just understanding their vision, what their dreams are, and just getting them to a good starting point, if that makes sense. A healthy starting point. So then from that point, when they come to the in-house side, then that's another conversation. The beginning should never be overcomplicated. Understanding their dream, understanding what their goals are, and then helping them get to that dream and what it boils down to. Again, there's other ways people can portray it and pitch it and say it, but I just understand what their vision is, man. Again, I keep it simple.
Yeah, less is more.
I personally, I'm gonna speak to the people who are in frontline.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really like frontline. I don't like frontline, man. I'm an in-house baby. I was born in in-house, and I just feel like frontline is. And respectfully, there's no in-house without frontline.
That's right.
Okay, let's just keep it real.
That's right.
So without, shout out to everybody that's frontline, dayline. I respect you, because if without you, there's no in-house.
That's right.
But I feel like it's always designed where it's never going to be enough for these people.
Right.
Never going to be enough. And respectfully, you're the first person these people are meeting, and obviously they're not going to jump in all the way. They're going to put their toe in.
That's right.
And get it right. So respectfully, I get it. You're going to sell them the minimum just to get them in.
Right.
But when they come to in-house, see, people say, "Oh, in-house deals are so much bigger." You know what I'm saying? But it's laid up to be that way. I feel like you give them the minimum. Every resort is different. I've been able to be in a few rooms. You know what I'm saying? So now I know if it was weeks, they sell them something like every other year. If it's points, they sell them minimum points, and maybe they.
And that makes sense because, you know what, back in the day, let's be real, systems were and platforms were different.
Mm-hmm.
So anyone that knows anything logically about timeshare will understand that when you started back in 1995 or early 2000s, you're not going to get the same engines or programs and benefits and credits and savings like you do nowadays.
Yeah.
Everything's completely different. So if they're outside spending $2,000-$3,000 on Google, then yeah, we have to bring them back to the basics. Understand, why did they buy this diamond? To vacation.
Yeah.
Right? So, you know, again, it's called the basic ABCs. I'm just, you know, for me, the beginning is to get them in so they could get their feet wet, understand a little bit how to navigate their ownership. From that point, then that's when the real journey begins after the first 2 years, 3 years. And then they come to in-house, and then we, you know, move them to the next step. But you can't jump them to Z until you start them from A. Make sense?
Let me be blunt with y'all listeners right here, okay? Because some people in the front line, dayline, they say sell them the dream, and some people in the in-house say fix the nightmare.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
So it's like, what are we doing? Are we selling them a dream for something that's not really going to work until they spend more money down the line, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but respectfully, I think that everyone should vacation. I think that everyone should own vacations. I believe in a product.
Me too.
You believe in a product. I know
do.
you believe in a product.
Well, to piggyback on what you're saying, it's not just about, sell them a little bit just to get their feet in the door, or, you know, even though that may be the case sometimes. But you got to remember, people's dynamics change throughout the years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hey, when I bought the timeshare, I didn't have kids. It was just me and the wife. We bought a studio, or we bought a 1-bedroom.
Right.
Now, 2, 3, 4 years later, things have changed. I have a bigger family. We might need a 2-3 bedroom lock off now, you know, or we might need that 4-bedroom, or whatever the case may be. So dynamics do change in their personal lives too, which would be the reason why they would need a different package along the way.
So here's the big debate that we always have, Kisha, on the show.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to ask you, weeks or points?
Ooh. Wow, that's deep. That's you know whoa, that's a deep question that could go into a lot of different angles. You know, it all started with weeks. That's just the
foundation.
That's the foundation. It all started with weeks. Points just brought it to a whole nother level, you know. And I'm not taking from either or, because some people are just old school, you know. They like the weeks aspect. They don't want to get complicated with points. Points it's just complicated for people. Weeks, they just know what they're getting. That's what they like to do, and hey, that's just what it is. But it just really, to me, it just all depends on what season of life these families are on, you know. But obviously, everything is a points, down to our debit card, our credit cards, our public shopping. Everything is points right now. The world is just a point system, period.
Yeah.
You know? So what is more valuable than the other? It's really up to the family
It's up
on
to
how
the-
they,
yeah,
on
their
how
perception.
they, what their perception, what their style of travel is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to say on the table, what's easier to manage, a dollar bill or 100 pennies?
I like that one.
I'm always pitching against points. I believe it's whatever you're selling. That's what's the best. You know what I'm saying? But I think the points forced families to vacation. I'm sorry. The weeks forced families to vacation when it was a fixed week. A floating week is almost no different than points to a degree. You know what I'm saying? Because obviously it's based upon availability.
Right.
And I guess, but I think fixed weeks have a great value for those people that set the focus to travel on that specific week. I think it's still a great thing. I think every company should still make it an option,
Right.
if that's what you want to do.
Correct.
I'm just learning points a little bit more. And what's ironic is that some companies, when they train you, if they don't sell points, they train you to believe the points work in a certain way. Until you find out the real deal that it doesn't work that way, that they don't inflate and stuff like that. So I got a little bit more respect for points, but I still think weeks are easier way to sell.
Agreed.
And there's not many people that still sell weeks, are there?
No.
Small handful.
Yeah, so
Just a handful.
can't beat them, join them.
Amen.
Shoot.
I'm actually the opposite side from y'all. I'm actually a points person, even though I started I started in the weeks program. But I'm a points person because to me, as a salesperson, I'm able to, I don't want to use the word manipulate, but I'm able to control the conversation, take full control of the conversation. And, because I'm able to grab in flights and rental cars and I'm able to grab in little things like that to be able to include it within the point system rather than just saying, hey, it's 1 week, because this 1 week is not going to take care of cruise, flight, rental cars, Disney tickets, and everything else included.
Agreed. Yeah. Agreed.
Okay. Fair enough. Fine. See, we have this debate all the time. Weeks versus points.
Yeah, we do.
You know what I'm saying? And we ask every guest to share what they, what their feedback is. So, y'all comment in the comments. Let us know, weeks or points. Which one you think is better?
Also, share with us. Also, too, how do you feel about when it comes time to? Well, you're a seasoned, rep at this point. You're probably closing your own tables and all type of things. But for new people getting in the game, if you were a TO, would you want your reps to, hey, just get them to want it and I'll come in and help you close the deal? Or are you looking for your reps to bring you a credit card and you just come in and kind of close it that way?
No, I think the people that have worked with me in this industry know that I'm not that type of, that's not my management style. I really work the table, if that makes sense. Yeah. I don't expect them to say, hey, here's credit on hand. Like, I really sit and understand the discovery. I try to understand where the family's coming from. Try to understand where the rep is coming from, to make sure that there's a happy medium or some type of a happy medium for the end game for all parties. Not saying that it's always going to be a happy ending, because sometimes people can't afford it. But I have seen some management styles where they're just like, if you don't have a credit card, or if you're not at a certain position, or we won't want to help you. Makes sense. I've never been that way. I've always been the type to embrace people, and just try to understand their style, whether they're new in the industry or not, and just try to pour love into them and just really help them to succeed, to win.
Yeah. Because
if they don't win, we don't win, and I'm big on that pride, because I've been in leadership for so long, that if you don't have a winner, a leader, right, that wants to see individuals win per se, how are you going to have a winning team? You know, you have to pour into them. They have to learn from their mistakes, and you have to be willing to grind with them, sweat with them, work with them, roll your sleeves up with them, pour into them. My greatest leaders done that with me. And I could remember a handful of leaders in my time that really just looked at me and really grind with me and taught me where I went wrong and where I could go right.
Do you feel that the TO works for the rep, or the rep works for the TO?
Well, the reality is, unfortunately, the rep is really working for the TO at the end of the day. Very rarely you could find some good TOs that really are working for the rep.
Yeah. So we fight that. I fight that. I said the TO works for the rep, okay? You go to my table and help me close, set it up for you to come slam dunk. One thing that is a good one. Sometimes people say, TO works for you. Remember that, TO works for you. And I've been on both sides of the fence.
Me too.
But however, so it depends on how you feel. Everyone has their own opinion. But the TO can work for you or you work for either way. But here's my thing. When you become a strong rep, as you are, you take your thing front to back. TO's getting paid regardless when you close the deal.
Right.
What's your thought process of that? Because I think that it's empowering for us to know we got the confidence, but I can take this front to back. But a lot of them get lazy.
Yep.
And they're happy because they know we good.
And they become fat rats.
That's a good...
Besides the ones that run around like me, and I'm busting my butt trying to help my teammates, and then you also have to take care of yourself too. And then you're like, dang, well, what about me? What about me? Because most of them, trust me, if they don't like you, they will not entertain you. They'll be like, yeah, good luck with that journey.
Yeah.
Come back to us when you really have a credit card on hand.
Yeah.
But I know how that feels. I've been on ugly floors, if that makes sense.
But that should make you stronger.
It has.
It should.
I'm not taking that. Listen, all of my TOs back in the day, boy, they'll be like, okay, good luck, Kisha. Keep trying. Come back.
Peep this. There's somebody out there right now that got a TO that don't rock with them like that. Don't give them attention that they need. There's a diva on the team that they go to their table more, and they always got a problem. What's the advice that we give to that person that's struggling with that TO?
Hey.
Pull them to the corner and tell them, yo, I'm a grown-ass woman. I'm a grown-ass man.
Yes.
Don't play.
You're going to have to put your big girl panties on. You're going to get some lashes. You're going to get beat up. But it's going to make you stronger and sharper. Yeah. It's about, again, do you want to win? Or do you want to sink? Because it's a jungle out there. And the world of timeshare will make or break you like this. So you're either going to be the lion or the lioness, or you're going to get swallowed in the jungle. And sadly, that's what happened.
Let's talk about being a lioness. You're a woman on the sales floor. There's probably more men than it is women.
True.
And you got to make your mark and say, respect me, I'm a monster.
True.
What's that like?
I do it with grace. I believe that, and this is probably a whole nother topic. I do it with grace because at the end of the day, yes, you have to be thick-skinned, but being a woman, you're still a woman at the end of the day. And you don't have to become a man, if that makes sense. You could carry yourself with grace and still put your opinion out there. I'm not saying that people should be wiping their feet on you, don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, there's ways to do it with grace. And I think what happens is after a period of time, because it gets so dominant where people think they can step on you, I think your actions speak louder than words. And that's how I started portraying myself, where I'm like, okay, understood, no problem. I would go out there and just do my thing. Kisha, you need help? Nope, I got it. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. And then I would go out there and just do my thing. And they would look at me like, what is going on? Yeah. There's a way to gain control. Everything is a psychology in life. And you learn that as you age. Back in your 20s, that's a whole nother word. You're blowing, you're mad, you're getting excited. When you start getting your 30s, you're like, oh my God, what is going on? I am exhausted. These people are just beating me up mentally, physically, on the above. And then right when you get in your 40s, you're like, you know what, baby? I'm like fine wine, honey. Let me tell you something. I'm going to do this dance with grace. And what I mean by grace is you go in, you do what you do best, And then you show them what you're made of gracefully. You don't have to fight with nobody because your actions are going to speak louder for you. These ones that get violent and rowdy and all, there's a lot of them out there on the sales floor that we all know. But you live and you learn. But one thing for me is that I've learned to just walk in grace, and whatever their thoughts and opinions are, that's no problem. You may think that I'm the worst rep on the floor, that I could never break records, but I'm going to show you who I am at the end of this race. My numbers will show who I am.
For sure.
And that will carry with me on this journey.
What's your take on sales reps complaining in the rep room, being negative in the rep room?
Oh God, that's every day. That's an everyday no. That is an everyday.
It never stops, no matter what resort you go to. You're gonna have that negative group.
It's really about, and I gotta say, and I'm gonna piggyback on when I first met Richard. One thing that I admired about Richard when I met him, he had this positive energy about him, his light. It was like, you know what, positive vibes only, you know? We ain't taking any negative energy into the game, you know? And that's one thing that I did love about him. He was just about let's win, let's win, let's win. It's all about winning. It was never about losing. It was never about failing. And even when they came at him negative, he was still smiling at the end of the day, you know? And that is what you need in this industry. You're not going to make it if you surround yourself about people telling you every day about what's happening negative in their life. You got to leave that out the door. When you come in this game, it's either, again, sink or swim, you know? So you come in with a winner mentality, you're going to win. You come in with a negative mentality, you're going to lose. And his stories did resonate with me because let me tell you something. When I first met Richard, and in the environment that I was in and the people that I had witnessed that shared their stories, that inspired me. Because I never thought in a million years, I'm like, shoot, can I make it through this training? Without saying, I really was like, and Rich goes, you're gonna make it, Kisha. And I said, boy, I'm telling you, for the first time in my life, I was like, I thought I was gonna cry. I wasn't gonna make it. I thought I was going in special forces. And
that's the next show too. Who got the best training? Yes.
And but let me tell you something. At the end of that, yes, I cried and I celebrated and rejoiced. But let me tell you something. That first day that I hit the floor, I was a testimony in my class because I sold that very first day. Woo!
You remember that deal too?
It was a 5-bedroom, baby.
Oh, that's right. That's right. It was.
I broke a record in my class day one.
I remember that.
And I was so hungry to win. I swear to God, I had the Eye of the Tiger t-shirt on my chest.
Yes.
Ready to win. And I went in and got it.
Brand new 5 too. Not no upgrade. A brand new 5.
Yeah.
Brand new.
That's dope.
That's what's up.
That was record breaking.
It sure was. I remember that. Yo, first and foremost, like you said, like coming in with that tenacity and having that grace, I want to give you your props and give you your flowers. And shout out to everyone who actually comes in, grinds, but like yourself, not just the business of vacation ownership, but you actually have multiple businesses that you run outside of that. Like the grind don't stop.
Yes.
So tell us about some of the things that you also got shaken outside of the industry.
Whoa.
Let's go.
Yeah. So, where should I begin? So throughout my journey of timeshare, I had actually wanted to open up a company, a platform that would allow me to pour into not just women, because I'm Latina owned, veteran owned company, but I wanted to help get young adults, young women, even young men back into the workforce, back into the industry, if that makes sense. So long story short, it started during the year of the pandemic, when everybody thought, what the heck was going to happen with the world. The world was in a crazy space. No one knew what was going to happen, and because there was this crazy virus going around. And I was like, shoot, well, how the hell everybody's going to pay their bills, right? So I remember I was actually sitting in church that day, and I got a vision, and I said, you know what? I got nothing to lose. So I decided to take $500 out my pocket and invest in myself a week later. Sure enough, the pandemic hit. Everybody was getting phone calls that there was no more work. Companies were shutting down. And I said, not me, not Kisha. And at that point, I decided to open up my very first company, which was called Fleek Squad Mobile Beauty, which we are now considered Central Florida's largest network of mobile beauty providers. Our first contract, I remember with my team, I had 5 people that came in and said they would rock with me. They were like, oh, Kisha, you crazy. You can't do this. It's a pandemic. No one's ever going to get work. There's no businesses open. And then there was 5 people that decided they were going to come in on this vision with me. And I ended up taking $500 out my pocket, and someone believed in me and rented me a space that I'm still rocking in the same space now 6 years later. And I opened up my company. And within 90 days, we became Disney branded in our first year of business.
Get out of here.
I went from a team of 5 to a team of 10. From a team of 10 to a team of 15. From a team of 15, I went to 30. In less than 90 days, I got contracted. I got a military contract at that with Disney.
Wow.
That's what's up.
Every person that jumped on my platform that I hired were single mothers, even single fathers that were young kids off the street that had just got their barber license and just getting into the beauty industry and just coming fresh out of school where nobody would look at them. And I got them their first gigs. Mm-hmm. That year, we were rocking so hard. We made so much money. Our first year of business, no one could touch us. We were unstoppable. Mm-hmm. So from that point, I carried our legacy. Now we're 6 years strong. Our portfolio has expanded not only throughout Central Florida, but we're in Davenport, now in Volusia County. Mm-hmm. We do have people that want us even in Miami, possibly, with God's grace. We are pouring into the senior community, which we've been working with strongly for over 5+ years as well, that we are well known for pouring into our seniors. As well as 55 and up luxury communities and so on and so forth. So I'm very proud of my team. I am very proud of the journey that we've been through the ups and downs. But, everybody needs to work at the end of the day. Everybody needs to pay bills at the end of the day. And I could safely say that with everything that was said and done, even in the midst of the pandemic, we got it done. Mm-hmm. We were number 1.
That's deep.
We were just talking about the pandemic earlier. We were talking about there was a thing that was asking us how did the pandemic change the industry? And my thought process was it helped. Mm-hmm. It actually helped. People wanted to vacation more when it was over with. Mm-hmm. People use that as part of their pitch. If you're in-house, you say, hey, there was an opportunity. That was you didn't get it because it was the pandemic, but you have the first opportunity to get it back today.
Yep.
And all that kind of stuff. So that was a good time. So congratulations to you, because there's somebody out there that they may come into this business, but this is not what they want to do forever. It's not their why. It's not their passion. But they know that they're good. They know they want to help people, but it's I want an exit strategy.
Right.
And not many people have an exit strategy.
Right.
And I think that's good when you have options. Other things popping, and there's a time that you can say, you know what, I'm good on this. I'll walk away and I'll take the money that I earned to fuel this business.
Amen. So, yes. And that's all about, for me, it's about helping building legacies for other young women and young men, helping them, show them what I never had given to me, pouring into them, into what their visions and what their dreams are, so they could see that they can do it and it can be done, And I have testimonies on my platforms where I've had young men and women come straight out of school that were practically homeless. And now a year later, they're in their dream career making almost over 6 figures, all because they started with Fleek.
Wow. Shout out to Fleek. Where can we follow Fleek at?
So you could follow Fleek at www.fleeksquadmobilebeauty.com. That's our website. Or you could go to us on IG as well as Facebook and Instagram.
That's what's up. Make sure y'all follow Fleek. Support. Tap in. And while you tapped in, while you're on Instagram and you're following Fleek, make sure you follow Soda and 60 and tag somebody else so they can see this episode and give them some motivation and share the insights that you learned today. Kisha, we appreciate you pulling up. We appreciate you sharing your knowledge with us and your experiences and the history, because you're a timeshare baby.
Well, thank you.
You know what I'm
Thank
saying?
you. It was my pleasure. And I'm really glad that I had the chance to sit here and talk with you guys and just kind of shed a little bit of a light on my background.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you for having me.
That was love, man. Mr. Dillon, take us out, brother.
For sure. And that's how you get sold in 60, just like that. We out.